Okay, hey there guys. So for today's war, we're going up against SSX, and by today's war, I mean like 6 days ago at this point. This was war number 2, we're on war number 4 now, a little bit behind still, trying to catch up. A little bit of an interesting team. I haven't gotten to bring my rank 5 Nimrod literally since like rank 5ing him, maybe like once besides this, I think. And then also my Spider-Man 2099, who I have not used in quite a long time, which will be pretty evident when you see that fight. So I'll start where we're starting the war off. I decided not to put suicides on, even though I'm using Mole Man here. In this first section here, you just gain so much attack rating just by staying close to them anyway that I didn't value putting on the suicides for a little bit of extra damage. SB2 doesn't kill, so like sure, maybe it would have technically helped, but I keep my True Strike going, get up to another SB2, I'm like, 3 Furies, this will kill. No crits, still killed. So, pretty simple fight there because with the True Strike or the guaranteed critical hits, you ignore Quicksilver's evade, so it's pretty simple there. Here, I've just got a normal path for Domino. Haven't really seen her here, especially with like a Nimrod unbanned. It shouldn't be too hard of a fight because what makes this node hard is the insult to injury, the heal block, all that type of stuff. Nimrod doesn't heal because he's a robot, so no willpower. He's immune to ability accuracy reduction against mutants, and Domino is a really small health pool, even as a dupe 7-star. She has the block pen, she's a duped 7-star rank 2, like, it's a lot of health and everything like that. But you're just going to see this SB2, even with a weakness. I tried to let it fall off. I get a second, I was like, I should let this fall off, but I didn't want to play around like that with a Domino. And a single SB2 with 2 weaknesses still does 90% of her health. And so I just have to go in here, I'm like, okay, wait out the lucky so she doesn't evade. Keep my armors up high for the extra attack rating. And then I'm just going to go in, I think I throw an... No, I just play this extra slow. I play this very, very safe here, even with the weaknesses. I just don't want her to accidentally get lucky and then evade, which is why I immediately stopped the combo there. I didn't want to play around with like a first hit on a reaction time type thing, so just as a precaution, I was playing it slower. It's a rank 5 Nimrod. I should be able to eat a couple hits against a Domino, not that I would want to. Here's this Null fight. I was pretty comfortable doing this fight without suicides as well because I've done this fight in off-season, like no boosts and stuff, and I just feel like with Mole Man, I've taken this fight a fair few times now. I've had my mishaps on this fight. There's that one that was really, really bad, but I've had my mishaps on this fight, but I feel like I've gotten very, very comfortable in playing this fight, and so I was like, I have the boosts this time. I shouldn't need suicides. We'll just see how this goes. I just try to push him up to SB2. I trigger my Frenzy here. I'm at 15 charges. And this one, you can tell the suicide difference there, just like, that just does not do a ton of damage there, right? But here, I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to block, chilling up at high health still. And right there, that one Living Abyss charge messed me up. I'm literally at the max amount on my SP1 there, because right, that pushed me over, like, it was absolutely crazy. So right here, I'm going to use the Striker to extend. I should have actually used that as a heavy. I did not think this fight was going to... I thought I was going to kill here with this SP2 is the issue, and I don't think I do. Yeah, he doesn't quite die from the SP2, and so he actually gets this, and so I'm dashing back because he's unblockable there, and I knew I shouldn't necessarily die. That fight didn't go exactly how it should have because of that one SP1 I threw in there. So, right there, I went back to lineup to make sure my officer didn't tell me anything specific. I asked him about the fight, he said power start 1. But there was a couple miscommunications that were going to happen, so I'm just going to be running this full fight in slow motion. I'm going to switch over to Science boosts. Again, fully boosted. I have the SP3 boost, I have the Power Start 1 boost, I have Science and Science, I've got the 30% on. But, it's a rank 3 Spider-Man, so I have 50,000 health. That's a lot for a Spider-Man, right? For a rank 3. That's a lot of health. Versus 400,000 and 15k attack. So... It's a fight. It's definitely a fight. So here's why I'm going to slow-mo is I'll just spoil it. I'm going to die here for 2 reasons. So I don't take off my dexterity, which is what you're supposed to do when playing Spider-Man. And look at how fast that like stun falls off. It's a bit hard to tell because I slowed it down, but I'll spoil you for what happened. I had accidentally somehow forgotten to take off, or forgotten to max out Stupefy. I had moved points around for my defense, and in doing that, I forgot to apply max Stupefy, so instead of increasing it by half a second, I'm only increasing it by a third of a second, which is just enough time, and then now I'm starting to panic. So I'm supposed to counter his heavy there. If I counter that SP1, the fight's actually possibly redeemable. But I don't because I was getting scared. And I got scared, so I panicked, and I messed up the fight. So now I need to try to bait out a heavy while he is unblockable, which is always 50-50. And again, I'm scared, so I don't trust myself, and I do a double dash back so I can no longer counter. I should probably honestly just I just need to be baiting out this SP1. That's all I've got to do. But as you can see, because of my dexterity having been on me, because of how high he got, I had all these ruptures on me, and with the heal block, I'm just ticking down so fast. So right here, I need to do this little dash back, and again, I don't counter with the heavy. Right there, I don't technically need to counter with the heavy. What I need to do, though, is get that power sting off me and throw an SP2. But so again, double dash back. I practiced his spacings in a duel before doing this. I practiced the heavy, I practiced the SP1, and then my SP2 gave him the extra charge, so he goes unstoppable during the charge, during the SP2, placing ruptures on me, which the ruptures finish me off. So there were a lot of issues in that fight. There were probably more issues than I could cover, even slowing it down, but I wanted to slow it down so I could cover all the issues properly. So I popped out of the war. I went into my BG chat, and I'm like, man, I just don't know if it's just a rank issue or if it was just purely a me issue. It was a play issue. I do think I should have ranked up my Spider-Man. My officer actually wanted me to, but we had some miscommunications going on. It's not his fault for what happened. I played so bad, especially going back over this, which is why I like slowing it down when I do these voiceovers, is it lets me really think through the process of the fight. And I had times in that fight where I could have potentially recovered it, mainly at that start there. I do think the rank 3 was a big issue for me in that fight, even in this part coming in here. As you can see, I have 10 seconds left on these boosts. So I'm like, well, I'm going in now. So it took me 25 minutes, 30 minutes to go back into this fight. Typically, I'm a person where when I die, I don't feel like the fight was unwinnable, so I just immediately go back in, and it's 20% left or whatever, right? But that fight was so horrendous. And right here, so I took off dexterity, I maxed out stupefy, and look, I'm able to throw heavies. Wow, that was a big part of the issue with the fight. Right here is another actually issue with this fight, is he didn't throw his SP1 for me in time, so he got unblockable already. I removed the power sting, I throw my first SP2, which now I have a solid placing in this fight, because every time I hit him, I'm gaining the placebos from the global. I actually hit the heavy counter on this one. Again, I was just I knew I had to be braver. One of the things my officer specifically said is I need to be hitting those heavy counters on that SP1, and I do a pretty good job at it this fight. I talked to someone who plays a bit more Spider-Man than me, and one of the things he actually said was I started actually going for too many of these heavy counters because he was at 0 charges there, and I was still just I'm throwing these, where what I should just do is I could have just backed off because he's still at 0 charges, and he's not really going to gain too many more because I'm hitting his block. But so the big couple things were I had dexterity on, which gives him power, which was just an idiotic move. I knew people removed Spider-Man's dexterity in this meta, but I thought my officer wanted it on for a reason because he didn't tell me to take it off, but I should have assumed to take it off. Again, I do not blame my officer for this death. I just played very poorly. I don't even play perfectly in this fight. Right there, I landed the intercept, so I'm like, well, I need to kind of keep going, and I do a shallow dex back there. I really hate when the AI has been doing that recently, where it actually caused us another death in our third war. My alliance mate just dashed back a little bit early, I guess, and the champion just dashes into him as he's at the end of his dashing animation, so he can't react yet. Right there, I like that intercept I did. It was a cute intercept, but that's not what I needed to do. Right there, trying for that little heavy, but it doesn't quite come off. I'm using the striker because, again, I need that heavy there. I want to lower his charges. And I'm trying to gain back a bit of space because he started playing a little bit less into my favor. Trying to go back in, hitting this block a little bit more. There's definitely a lot I could change about this fight. That would be a lot better. This one here was just a little bit of cleanliness issues. I also need to get more comfortable on trusting myself on the Rintra spacing. I usually do that weird little multiple dashes right here. That thing that I do. Where really, if once he's moving, I think it's one dash as he starts moving, and you should be able to have the spacing for it. Right here, I know I just need to push him over 1 bar of power, 17k, and it's over. And do I cut it out? No. It's a 2.5 minute fight with the rank 3. So here's the final score. Again, somehow my streak continues of I have this weird thing. When I happen to die, we don't tend to lose those wars, which is good, but I need to be cleaning this up. I do not like having another death at the second war of the season. It's the same thing that happened last one. Science against a Mystic, second war of the season. Really poor by me. I need to really clean this up for the second half, not even second half, the final 3 quarters of the season. I want to play it nice and clean. I felt like I've had some pretty good fights, so I'm just going to try to focus on those, make sure I'm getting the right plans, and that by plans I mean like the right strategy for going to the fight. Just want to shout out Nagase down there. He left us over this last offseason. Really happy that he's still doing really well over in SSX. As you can tell by the score and the time, this was a very, very tight war until the very, very end. 3-3 is definitely a nice score. It's low, but it's not 0-0. 0-0 I still have a personal beef with. But thank you guys so much for coming back and watching. Necropolis just dropped. I hope you guys, if you're going for those runs, that they're going really, really well. And I hope everyone that's already started them, that you get some good rewards from it. So I'll be seeing you guys soon, and good luck on your second week of wars starting up here. Bye.